What are you doing here? What business do you have with me? Well, we've just come for the sunset and I step lightly on this island. We'll leave in just a little while. Be sure that we are your good friends, and it's likely we'll be back again. Now she squeezed my hand and smiled at me. Loose cobblestones were at our feet. She said this is where two good souls should meet. And I laughed and then I agreed. Oh, she hid behind her hair, it was down and brown. Low sun had streaked it a shade of red. She said, come with me and we will see where the waves beat on the palisades, were orange like and crowned the close of day. Now we'll wake that sleeping giant there on Canada's shoreline, where life can grow like love itself and is a beacon for lost lovers now. Oh, hold me like you mean it. Let me see your eyes shine, and if I can be in your world, you can be in mine for all time. Oh, love is where the lichen grows. Oh, love is where the lichen grows. Do, 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 do. Da, 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 dee, 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 dee.
Nice. Welcome to Waupaca Local Live. I'm Tammy Jo Berg from the Waupaca Community Arts Board. And tonight we have John Wilson and Pat Wiley with us. And we're really excited because they're great storytellers as well as great musicians. So John, tell us about that first song.
Well, you might think there's not an ounce of truth to anything that I write, but there is to this one. This one is an interesting one, and I worked on Isle Royale for many years. It's a national park out in the middle of Lake Superior, close to the Canada shoreline. And I was on a hike with a couple of friends one day, and they were kind of sweet on each other. And we were bushwhacking, and Susan, we sat down for a bite to eat and a drink water, and Susan asked me that age-old question. And it came out of left field, but there it was. She said, John, can you tell me what love is? And Ken looked at me in this horse-drawn, blank look. And he had his hat on and a bill on his hat, and then he had some lichen moss that was clinging to the bill of his cap that he didn't know about. And I looked at Susan and I said, boy, you really put me on the spot, but I'm going to tell you what love is. Love is where the lichen grows. Mm. And so, I got back to camp that night and thought about it and started writing a couple of lines. And because everybody that goes out to Isle Royale, just about everybody falls in love with that place. And the orange lichen is a real thing. It turns this beautiful orange color at sunset. A lot of the outer islands, especially on the northeast end of the island, they just light up, and it's like a beacon. And if you're lost with your love, I mean, this will help guide you. And so that was kind of the basis of the song.
It's beautiful. It's a lot of the words in there. They talked about different things like the sound of the loons and the lichens, and every time I hear certain things like that, the loons, I'm like, oh, that's my favorite sound. And then I hear the owls hooting. I went, no, that's my favorite sound. or just the wind whispering in the pines. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's really good too. It's all that nature.
Yeah, it's a special, special place. Yeah.
So you and Pat have been playing together for a long time. How much is a long time?
40 years.
40 years is a long time.
Maybe not, but close to 40 years.
And he's only 45, so,
Yeah,
you know.
and, we met, I believe, in 1982, so that's 40 years.
It
That's
is
right.
40 years.
Yeah.
And we haven't always played professionally out together, but we did for many, many years, decades. And currently we, and sometimes we play together and sometimes we play different songs at the same time. But overall, we've had a lot of fun. We've grown up together. We were kids when we met, and started playing old time string band music and calling barn dances. We were with the Raiders of the Lost Barn. And started Green Apple Friends of Folk co-op in Appleton together, and we just grew up together and did music, and so we've been lifelong friends and music partners.
And hunt and fish a lot together, too.
That's
Yeah.
good.
And he outfishes me, though. I've always worked hard at this.
I've heard you just run an adventure together.
We did, and we'll get to that adventure, but we'll start. Is it my turn to do a song?
It is your
All right,
turn.
so this song is called "Chew the Fat and Play Some Fiddle," and this is a song that I thought I'd do tonight because it's about John, basically. And in this song, John is Sugar John. We both cook maple syrup, and I started John. I kind of got John going, and now he's got his own sugar bush, and his friends cook syrup. But so in this song, he's Sugar John, and this song. The first verse is completely true, and the rest of it is kind of made up. But that's the license of songwriting, right? And it's not all made up. But the first verse I wrote at John's place. I wrote it. I was driving to his house. We were going to go ice fishing.
That's a fact.
And I was driving, and it was a warm up. And I got to his house, and it had warmed up, and there was so much slush on the lake, and we got to talking, and then one thing turns into another, which happens with John and I a lot. And we wind up not doing what we had planned, and we wind up playing fiddle.
Yeah, we put the bait aside and said, yeah, we're staying inside today.
So this is a song about that, and it's a song about fiddling, of course, but it's a song about good friends, and we're good friends. And John inspires me to play,
Nice.
which is the best kind of friend to have.
It is.
I unfortunately inspire him to not work, which
And he's so good
You
at
ready?
it.
Here we go. We'll try it. Well, I went down to Sugar John's, planned to go ice fishing. Too much slush, fish too much, wound up in his kitchen. His lovely wife baked some bread, had bean soup in the kettle. Decided not to fish that day, chewed the fat and played some fiddle. Wow, John. Cut some firewood, filled up the saws with gas and oil. John, oh, I'll look back and smile. Whether I go up or I go down or wind up in the middle, I'll be glad I chewed the fat with John. By God, we played some fiddle.
That's lovely. That's a song about friendship. That's a really good
fun
song.
one. We have a YouTube video of that, us playing that in my sugar shack from a couple years back. It's fun. It's a fun song to play
And
with
if you
John.
haven't been to his sugar shack, you gotta go. He doesn't charge too much for admission. Just a couple of venison sausages and you're in.
All right.
There you go.
Keep that in mind next March.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got a quality operation at his place. I mean, everything is homemade, his cooker and all that syrup stuff. But anyway, it was
sappy
very,
syrup stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So you did go on an adventure.
Yes, and
Just
we'll
recently.
get to that.
You're still not ready for
We'll
that.
get-
Okay.
John and I, life is an adventure. today was an adventure,
man,
actually.
yeah, it is.
Good.
It is.
We have a good time.
We're a lot of stories to tell. I mean, a lot of people we met. So stay tuned.
So what do you got up next for your songwriting?
Well, I have a tune. When I was with the Raiders, I played mostly 5-string banjo. Didn't sing much. Didn't let me sing much.
That's not true.
But anyway, yeah, when I got to sing, it was some old-timey tunes, and we always encouraged dancing. You know, that was what we were. And Pat was the caller, and this guy played music for a living. I mean, so he has the stage presence. He taught all us Raiders how to really, act on stage. And how many times have I violated your rules?
Almost every gig. But I enjoy it. John can't be trained. He can be housebroken. Housebroken, but not
Not
trained.
trained.
Yeah, when you turn your head, I'm going to be on the couch again. So. Well, this tune was an old tune that I wrote, one of my first tunes I wrote, way back in the 70s. It was way before I met Pat. And
That's in 1970.
yeah, right. And it's got an 1870 feel.
It does.
We had a group of friends. You know, when we were growing up, I was born and raised in Detroit, so I was fortunate when I was 11 or so to get a couple of really quality wilderness experiences in. And so it made me fall in love with the North Country. And so my buddies, a couple of buddies, they were in the same boat. So when we got our driver's licenses, we always went up north and camping out. And one of these places was called the Buttermilk Creek. It's in the Manistee River State Forest in the western part of the northern part of the Lower Peninsula. And we congregated there when we had some hard times. We had some really, really hard times that had happened. And so this song is just about how some things don't change that really make me feel good. And those are some high quality, clean river systems. And the Buttermilk Creek is one. Well, pack on back to the Buttermilk Creek and take a sip of that cool, cool water. Then I sit down a bake and get my feet a little wet and say, that's okay. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, 'cause it's made that way and it's here to stay. Gather round and socialize a bit. I must admit they gotta be fit if they drink the juice of the buttermilk creek. That's okay. Hey, hey. Tried to steal a kiss, then she planted one on me. And that's okay. Hey, 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 hey. Oh, 'cause she's made that way, and she's here to stay. In the dead of the winter, the buttermilk flows. She rolls and she rolls, nobody knows how she goes and goes, but that's the way, and that's okay. Hey, 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 look, 'cause she's made that way, and it's here to stay. That's okay. Hey, 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 oh, 'cause it's made that way. Oh, that brings back memories. Yeah, that's the thing about songs that, you write and just brings back a lot of people that are not
Takes you
around
right back to
anymore.
where you were. And you were talking about your friends and where you were growing up. And did music play a part in your young life?
Yeah, it did. I had a guitar when I was 11, took a couple of lessons, and I put it down for a while. Another buddy, best friend, Ken Schneider, you know Big Ken, and his family was just always singing, and his brothers all played guitar. And so when we went up and camped out, there was always Johnny Cash, Bob Dylan, and the Beatles all joined us around that campfire with those guys accompanying on guitar. And so that was the impetus for me to grab my guitar up and play again before I went off to college.
Nice. Yeah.
How are we doing on time there, Miss
We
Tammy?
are doing 7:20, so we're doing okay.
Okay. Can I sneak a 1-minute song in before we do
1 minute
anything
song is
about-
allowed, yes.
So inspiration so I've been writing 1-minute songs because I think that's my attention span and the attention span of most people. We live in a TikTok world, and but anyway, so this one was inspired on a trip to Walmart. It happened. Well, a woman in the grocery line stood there in front of me with a dryer sheet stuck to her backside for all the world to see. I reached out and removed it, 'cause I'm a helpful man. But this random act of kindness didn't turn out as I had planned. She gave a scream and turned around and struck me with her purse. What I did next, I'll now admit, just made it 10 times worse. I guess I must have panicked. There's no two ways around it. It was an error in my judgment to put it back where I had found it.
That's good.
Oh, that is just
Error in
precious.
my judgment.
I'm never going to look at a dryer sheet the
No,
same ever
no.
again.
Things happen. Anyway, so that was
And I
a
think-
couple weeks back.
That's the joy of the folk music and the folk song, because it can tell a story in just 1 minute,
Yes.
or it can tell a story over many minutes.
Yes, I didn't figure I needed to go on with that one.
Oh, it was very visual. It was very visual.
So you're talking about this adventure. We'll get to the adventures. So John and I and our wives took a trip down to Arkansas, and we finished up our maple syrup. Had to delay the trip a little bit because it was a late season, but we did. We wanted to go and chase some spring because spring was not finding us here, and so we went down to a couple places in Arkansas. Went to Mountain View, which is the folk music capital of the world. And a good friend of mine, Bob Cranky, banjo and fiddle and guitar player from Dale, Wisconsin, had moved down there when he retired. And he was a dear friend, and he's gone past on now, but he lived down there for quite a while and played the music. And I always wanted to get down and see him when he was there. And one of my few regrets in my life is I didn't get down and see Bob in Mountain View because he was in his element. It's just a place where people play and jam on the square, and they just, it's really a cool place. And mostly, and there's the Ozark Folk Center there that it's a national park or a state park, I believe it can't. But it's this cultural folk center where they have blacksmiths and weavers and
Voyeurs.
And what?
Voyeurs. You thought I said voyeurs.
I did.
Yeah.
I thought,
Guys that make
look
bows
out!
and arrows.
Anyways, and they have music, and it's just this cultural place, and which was kind of the idea of Jimmy Driftwood, who was a really good songwriter. Wrote Tennessee Stud and the Battle of New Orleans. He's a real cool guy. If you're not familiar with Jimmy Driftwood, Google him up because he's a cool guy. He's a teacher, and he wrote songs for his students, and some of them, he got pretty famous. But Mountain View became this place that's this cultural to keep the music alive, and there's a lot of artists that move there, and it's just a cool place. So we went down and spent some time there, and then we were there for their festival, their Arkansas Folk Festival, and got to do some main stage time and played a lot of fiddles and banjos, and we just had we had a great time. And John's family's from down in Arkansas. His dad's from there, and so he was just in his element. And so anyway, so that was our adventure. We fished and camped and played a lot of music and ate like kings, and didn't catch very many fish, but that was that's.
But the Sylamore River we were camped on. It was 6 miles north of Mountain View, and it was just 800-foot rock walls and turquoise, crystal clear water. It was a gorgeous place, just beautiful. It's a wild and scenic river.
And trout that didn't want to go in a frying pan.
Yeah, they didn't want to.
But anyway, so we had a great time, and we bought a couple fiddles down there that were made. A music store in Mountain View. Their owner makes fiddles, and John and I hadn't planned on buying fiddles, but we bought. And they're kind of twins too, which is we're going to start dressing alike. And but we met so many good people, and these fiddles just they sounded so good that they had to come home with us. So we brought them. Actually, they're both here tonight, and it was featured in whatever got posted for this was us playing the fiddle on the Waupaca on the lake there. But anyways, so got home and wrote a little tune called Mountain View Night, and we thought we'd kind of take it out with that one. And John's going to play his new fiddle on it, and it speaks to. I'm not going to tell you the song. The only thing you need to know. Everything you'll get, because I'm not, John's cryptic and cool and poetic in his writing. I just tell you what I'm thinking, like there's a dryer sheet on the woman's back. You don't have to guess. It's just, I'm a direct kind of writer. But there's a line about fiddles are tuned to calico, which is it's an old time mountain tuning called calico. Pick those strings for them so they understand.
So it's called, it's a cross tune. A, E, A, and then C sharp.
And it's called calico, like a calico cat or a calico dress or a calico something.
Sure.
And we learned a tune from the Arkansas State fiddle champion, Kaylee Speaks. She's a gorgeous young lady, about 6'9". Wow. I don't know, she's tall. But we learned that she taught us this tune, Happy Hollow, which happens to be in this tuning, but it also happens to be a North Carolina tune. So we learned a North Carolina fiddle tune from the Arkansas State champion in Mountain View, Arkansas.
Was that Martin Marcus?
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, so
Before you take it out, though, where can people find your music? If they want
very good. I'm at patwileymusic.com. Easy as can be. Pat Wiley, W-I-L-E-Y, music.com. And YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Pandora, all those, iTunes, wherever, you get music for free. And or you can,
You have some things coming up?
Yes, we do. I play at a place called Primal Eats. It's a barbecue joint up by Gillette, and Pretty much every other Saturday. I'm there the next 3 Saturdays. If you haven't been there, they have really good brisket and wood-fired pizza, and it's great.
And the best music.
And live music. It's a good live music venue,
Yeah.
and we're kind of out in a big tent, and it's a deer farm. It's a cool place. So I play there pretty often. A bunch of festivals coming up this year. Shawano Folk Festival.
It's good to be back in the festivals
August. Yeah, people meeting.
It's been too long.
I'm got a main stage set at Larry Fest down around La Crosse, which is kind of a big festival, bluegrass festival, and Manawa close by here, Little Stock. So yeah, just check my website. I got all my I post stuff. And John's band,
Yeah,
Flip
I
of the
suppose I could
Coin.
plug a couple. We have an Irish and old time band, so we play some old time music, and we just got done doing a really cool dance, and Pat joined us on that one. It was a hoedown, like what we used to do as the Raiders, and it just felt so good. So what we got coming up on Saturday, before Father's Day, I think it's the 18th of June, is at a local winery in Pine River. It's the Pine River Winery. We start at 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and there's wine tasting. Pat Arndt, it's at his residence. Then he has a little wine bar in his basement, but this is all outside, under the tents. People bring their lawn chairs and just spread out and buy bottles of wine and just have a great time. So we'll be playing a lot more Irish there. So the name of our group is Flip of the Coin. And then we are playing in Waupaca at the Hutchinson House on the 25th, that's Saturday of June.
Great.
And I think that'll be from 10 to 2. And it'll be mostly 1850s tunes if we
Nice.
can find some.
Yeah.
And
Greatest hits.
yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for joining us tonight on Waupaca Local Live. Can't wait to hear your last tune.
Oh, this
Thanks
is
for having us.
Thanks, Tammy.
Well,
Yes.
it's new. I wrote it this week, and I've changed it 100 times. We'll see how it goes.
Hot off the press.
Redbud trees blooming on the mountainside. April Ozark moon shining bright. Fiddles and banjos ringing beneath the front porch light on a mountain view night. A little slice of American pie in the Arkansas hill. This tiny town where it seems that time stands still. Jimmy Driftwood wrote his songs like Ozark Bill on a Mountain View night. Open up your window, close your eyes real tight. You can hear those old songs drifting in the air tonight. Open up your window, tilt your head just right. You can hear those old songs drifting in the air tonight. Play some of those old songs, guys. Well, music is the glue, binds the old ways with tomorrow. It's a twisted, mystic path that some will follow. Fiddles to the calico play Happy Hollow on a Mountain View night. Open up your window, close your eyes real tight. You can hear those old songs playing in the wind tonight. Open up your window, tilt your head just right. You can hear those old Happy Hollow.